All right, hi everyone. Hi. So today we're going to be doing a little workshop that is with the theme of the cybersecurity month. So we're going to do a little activity that's going to be, just to get you guys freshen up and be able to learn a bit about cybersecurity. So before I start, I want to introduce myself and who I am. So my name is Nian, and I'm an employee here, and I work with the engineer outreach team with the U Ottawa. And what we do essentially, we go around doing. Just give me 1 second. All right, now it should be good. You guys can be able to see me. All right. So I was saying, I work with the engineering outreach with the U Ottawa, and what we do essentially, we go around doing workshops in schools. So schools that are like from kindergarten to 12th grades, and we do like the workshops that are STEM related. So the theme is like STEM related workshops. So that's what we do. And essentially, STEM related workshops today, we're going to be more focused on the technology side of STEM. So there's science, technology, engineering, and math. And today, we're going to be more focused on technology. So I'll be just giving you guys a bit of an intro about cybersecurity and like just to be able to understand what it is and how to be safe online. So just to say that, so yeah, I introduced what I'm studying right now is civil engineering right now here at the university. And I have the opportunity today, I'll be teaching you guys a bit about block coding using microbits. So before we start, I want to just introduce you guys what is being cybersecure, what is cybersecurity essentially. So cybersecurity is about protecting computers and networks against malicious attacks. So you're protecting your compute. Being cybersecure means you're learning how to protect your computers against people essentially like attacking the computer or like hacking the computer. So just before we start into that, a quick question that I want to ask you guys is, would you guys be able to tell what is the difference between a scientist and an engineer? Okay, what is the difference between a scientist and an engineer? So essentially, in order to see how a scientist and engineer they work together, we can use a tiny example. So like let's say for example, if we look at what a scientist is a guy who usually, let's say, he works in a lab and he has a lab coat on and like he's doing experiments and stuff. So that's just like that's one way of describing what a scientist is. Another way is saying an engineer. Another way is saying, okay, so an engineer, what does he do? An engineer, he builds things. He builds things and he actually makes like physical things. It's not just like theories and like reports and papers. He actually makes something up. That is another definition of like an engineer. Now, how can we see how these two they work together? So let's look at an example. Let's look at an example. So an example we could look at is, okay, think of like a rocket. How are astronauts able to go into space? How are they able to fly into space? So if we look at that example, we look at like how a rocket works. A rocket, when it's launched in the air, there's like combustion at the bottom, so there's fire at the bottom. So this fact was discovered by a scientist. So a scientist saw, okay, combustion is able to create enough energy and able to launch this like big thing, like this rocket up into the air. So this fact, it was discovered by scientists. And then the scientist, he went and he talked with his friend, the engineer, and he said, oh, like, I just want to let you know this fact. A fire and combustion is able to give enough energy to launch a big thing. Like, it's able to give enough energy. And the engineer, he took that fact and he went and he built the rocket. So that's how they work together essentially. So that's just a tiny example. So let's just like explain a bit of like the relation between a scientist and an engineer. So you guys will be able to understand that a bit better now. All right, so back into the cybersecurity. So yeah, cybersecurity is learning how to protect your computer against malicious attacks or bad attacks. So malicious attacks, you can think about like example phishing attacks. One, like for example, someone sends you an email and this email has like a bad link. So this link, when you press it, it can like send you to like it can insert a virus in your computer. So that's an example of what a malicious attack can be. There's other examples like when you get a phone number, like when you get a call from a phone number you don't really know. That's another attack that it can be like when you answer a phone call, these people can access your phone and like put different viruses inside. So that's why like in order to prevent these stuff, sometimes when you don't really know what is being sent to your email or you don't really know who's calling you, it's better to really not answer it and just like kind of ignore it. So that's like in simple terms, some attacks that we can see. And another thing that I can mention about cybersecurity is when cybersecurity, it's always important for like facilities that have like highly sensitive information. So these highly sensitive information, they're the ones who are like more prone to be attacked and more prone to be like they really want to steal this information because it's sensitive. So in order to be secure, there's a lot of ways. One of the ways that you can be secured, like for from people hacking you, from people getting into your own account, one of the ways is having a strong password. So this is one of the ways that you can like this is one of the ways that you can be secure online, making sure that your passwords, you don't use the same passwords for different accounts, and also you have a strong password. So this theme of having a strong password is actually what we're gonna be taking apart today. So we're going to be doing a tiny activity where we're going to do a code, and this code is gonna be able to generate different letters, and these different letters are going to make our password. So we're gonna have a little code. When you press a button, for example, it's gonna show you a letter, and then we're gonna write down what the code is giving us. The different letters are generated, and then we're gonna write this down, and this is gonna become like our code. So it's just gonna be something like that is kind of like a bit random. So just before I begin, I want to show you guys the link that we're going to be working with today. So it's going to be written down in the banner that is at the bottom of me right now. So if possible, if you're following with me, in order to follow with me, just follow the little link that I put in the banner at the bottom, and we can go started, and I can actually show you guys and we can actually do it together. So just to start, when you follow that link, the page that you should be able to see is this page that is right here on my screen. So you should be able to see this page you should be able to see this page once you follow the link that's at the banner. So as you see, we're working with the link, the microbits. So we're going to be working with microbits. We're going to be using a virtual microbit, actually, not the physical one. So essentially they kind of work the same. If you guys haven't really worked with microbits, they kind of work the same. So microbits, you can think of it, what a microbit really is. It's a microcontroller, and in simple terms, we can think of it like a tiny computer. So a microbit is like a tiny computer. So it kind of looked like what was on the page right here. So it kind of looks like this. And what we're gonna be today, the LEDs that we're gonna program right now, they're gonna be the ones that are actually gonna give us our letters. So in order to start, we come down here. We're going to press the new project button, and then we're going to type our project name. So we're going to call it password generator. And then you press create. Once you press create, this is the page that you should see. So if you're thinking that you want to save this code today, save the activity that we're doing today, here at the top, you could sign in, and you could sign in using like your Google account. So this will be a way to save your project, and actually you can come back to it later on. And if you have like a physical microbit, you can upload your code on your microbit and kind of like play around with it, and just like kind of like know kind of like play around with it and actually have the physical code in your hands. So just before we begin, I'll just do a simple introduction of our microbit page. So on this left side of the screen, like I said, you can see our virtual microbit. So there's going to be a play button and stuff. So once we code it, you can actually see it working in effect. So this is right here on our left side is our virtual microbit. And at the bottom, I think it's kind of hidden with my main name. You're going to see like at the bottom, there's going to be somewhere that says download. So where it says download is where you could, if you have the physical microbit, you can actually download your code onto your microbit. All right, so here in the middle side, right here is our different sections and our different categories for our block codes that we can use throughout the coding. So here you can see the basics, you can see inputs, you can see musics. So there's a lot of categories here that we're gonna choose from. And actually you can see here in logic, we can see some of the conditional blocks that are here, and there's comparison also. So there's a lot of things are right here. Another thing that's important on in this middle block is actually use it's also can be used as our, let's say, our delete button. So if you put a block and you don't really want to use it anymore, you can just grab it again, you drag it and bring it right here, and it kind of like deletes it. So this is also considered like our deleting blocks section. And this right here are the right side of the page where you can drop blocks. It's gonna be called like our coding window. So this is where you're going to put all your blocks, and this is your coding platform, and where you put blocks that you want like to work. So this is where we're gonna be using and really focused on. So this is just a simple introduction. So I'll bring everything and just clear our page, and then we can slowly start doing our code. So essentially what we're gonna be doing, so I'll explain it to you just in the beginning. What we're gonna be doing is we're going to make a code that when you press this button A of our microbit, when you press the button A, we want the microbit to generate different, so we're gonna have 5 different characters, and we want our microbit to generate different characters all the times. So we want, like, it's gonna be random, so it can be like characters are back to back, so it depends, because it's a randomizer, so it can be like different letters. So all we need to know is we're gonna have 5 options of characters that we are gonna pick ourselves, and then the microbit is gonna be going around and doing like a randomizer, doing randomly and giving us the letters that we created. So I'll go ahead and start for you just to begin. So just to begin, the first thing that you want to do is go into input. And like I said, we want it to happen when we press the button A. So we're going to take this block. So you just press and hold and drag it into your platform. Now it looks like this. All right. Now, the next thing that we want to do, like I said, so we're going to have different letters. So in order to have that and how that's gonna work, the first thing that we want to do is we're gonna have to create the variable that's called letter. So in this variable, we're gonna be able to in this variable, we're going to store the different numbers. So it's either gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this variable is, for example, we want the letter number 3. It's going to generate a specific letter. So it's going to be like randomly made. So the first thing that we want to do, we're going to come here into variables, and this is where you can make a variable. So you press make a variable, and then you're gonna type letter and press OK. So now once you press OK, this is the page, and this is what shows up on your page. All right, so you're gonna have the block that comes up. It says set letter to something or change letter by something. So these are the blocks that are really necessary. So the one that we need today is just the first one. We're going to take the set letter. And like I said before, we want inside the letter variable, we want it to be a random number between 1 and 5. So slowly you guys are gonna understand how that's gonna work. Where we're gonna be able to do it, we're gonna come here under math. And if you look here at the bottom, there's actually a block that says pick random 0 to 10. You're going to take it and just make sure you can see that they're kind of attached. And when they're attached, you can just let go and they're going to come together. So that's how it works. So we want ours to be from 1 to 5. All right, so now we have inside the letter, it's gonna do a random number that is between 1 and 5. So the next thing we're gonna do, we're going to put a condition that says, okay, if the number of our letter is 1, we want this character to show up. If it's 2, we want this character. If it's 3, we want this character, so on and so forth. So how we're gonna do it, like I said, it's if. So this is like putting a condition. So this is where we're gonna come and use our conditional blocks. So we're going to grab this second conditional block. So it says if true then else. We're going to grab it and put it right under our first block, the set letter block. Now we have this. So this, how it works, it says if true, then do this. So if the condition that is going to be put here is true, then what is written at the bottom, the blocks that we're going to put at the bottom are the ones that are going to be in effect. Else, everything that is under here is what's going to happen. So how we're going to do it? So we want our condition to say if the letter equals 1, then we're going to have a specific code underneath. So how we're going to do that? We're going to come here into logic and go into comparison. Take this first block that says 0 equals 0. Take it and make sure that it's attached to true and you can see the line, and let go, and then it's just going to snap together. Perfect. And now we want to say if our letter equals 1. So we're going to come into our variable and we're going to take this circular letter block and we're going to put it here. And we're going to say, okay, if letter equals 1. Perfect. All right. And then now that we know, okay, if letter equals 1, what do we want to do? Okay, this is simple. So let's come into here basics. Let's say, okay, the first character that we want to show up is X. So X is actually a character that's an icon that's already made into microbit. Just by, if you take this block and you say show icon, you put it right here and you go find your X. And it's right here. So this means if the random number that is picked is 1, it's going to show the letter X. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is, let's say, for example, we want to put another condition that says if letter equals 2. Okay, so let's do that. So in order to have another like condition that looks here, we need to go here and press the plus button. And then we see it's going to show up. And then like we did before, we're going to take our comparison. We're going to put it right here. And then we're going to say this time if letter equals 2. All right. And now we have if letter equals 2. And now we want a character, but it's not really a character that's inside the microbit. It's a character that's actually we have to make ourselves. So we can actually make an icon ourselves. So let's say we're going to take this block. It says the show LEDs. We're going to put it here. And now let's make an exclamation mark as our character that we want to show up. So I think another way to have a strong password is having characters that are not only letters but also characters that are like exclamation marks, like dots, alt. You can have a lot of different characters, but it's a good thing to, have various different characters so that it's not really easy to crack. So that's one way to do it. And next thing after that, we're done the number 1, 2. So now we need to do it for 3, 4, 5. So how we're gonna do it? So we're gonna put the condition. So we're gonna press the plus button until we have 3 added statements. So now this is gonna be for number 3, number 4, and number 5. And because we don't really need this last one, we can just press the minus and it's gonna disappear. So like that, it's gonna be the different conditions that we need. All right. So next thing, we're gonna come back into comparison. We're going to put the comparison in each of the statements that we want. So we're gonna put one there. We're gonna put one here. And one right here. Perfect. Now the next thing that we want to do, we're gonna come back in variable and we're gonna grab it and replace the first 0. Replace it and replace it. Perfect. So now we have the 3, and now we want to write, we want the number 3, the number 4, the number 5. All right, perfect. So now if the number is 2, we're gonna have an exclamation mark. And let's say if the number is 3, this time we wanna show the letter Y. All right, so we can grab the same show LED block, and we can actually draw ourselves the letter Y. All right, we're gonna draw it just like this. And there you go, the letter Y. And now let's say, for example, if the number is the number 4, what are we gonna do? Okay, let's say the letter D. So we're gonna take it, we're gonna grab the show LEDs, and this time we're gonna draw the letter D. Alrighty. There you go, the letter D. Last but not least, this time we want at the number 5, we wanna show the question mark. So we want to show a question mark. So how we're gonna do it? We're gonna take the same thing, go to show LEDs, and this time we're gonna draw the question mark ourselves. Alrighty, like that and like that. And there you go. So we have our simple code. So let's go one by one what it says. Okay. So when we press the button A, the variable letter, there's gonna be a random number that is picked by the microbit itself. So a random number. So let's say, for example, the number 3. So now after that, the condition, how it's gonna go. So it's gonna say, okay, if the variable letter equal 1? No. Is it equals 2? No. Is it equals 3? Yes. Then show the character Y. So that's like a bit how that works. If we do a test run to see if it works, so right now we press the A button and we see X, and then we see D, and then we see the exclamation mark, we see D again, we say exclamation mark again, we have the question mark. So right here, it's like a randomizer. So as I press it, it's gonna show me random characters. So now this is like our simple code that we made. So let's go ahead and kind of like use it and actually make our password. So right here I have a post-it. So with this post-it, I'm gonna write down, let's make a password that is 8 characters long. Okay. Another thing that's actually important when you're doing passwords is having it the longer it is, the more secure that it is. It's not good to have passwords like 12345, like this is short, or having a password that's like like strawberry 123. Like all of these are like pretty simple passwords. But right now, let's use this like code that we just made and actually write down a simple code and like see how that's gonna work with us. Okay, so first thing, let's say for example, right now, our first character right now that we see on our screen, it's the character X. Okay, so let's write it down. So we have X, and if we press A again, we have our question mark, and then the third character we're gonna use is X again. Press, and then we have Y. So now that's four characters. We need four more. We have X again. Then we have exclamation mark. And then we have exclamation mark again. So as you see, like the characters, they can repeat. So it's really, and they're random. You can have characters that are back to back. So right now I have two exclamation marks back to back. Let's get one more character, and then we have Y again. So we didn't get the D. It's okay. So right now our password is X, and then we have the question mark, we have X again, we have Y, and then we have X, we have exclamation mark one time, exclamation mark two times, and then we have Y at the end. All right, so right now we have our password, and then I actually have a link that we can use to test our little program. So let me just open the link. Show you guys this link. So now this is the link that we're going to be using today to test our password. So like I said, I'll just type it down here, and it's gonna be X, Y, X, exclamation mark twice, and then Y. So right now what it's telling us, okay, so the estimated time to crack is 3 hours. And right now we have 8 characters, and it's still telling us, okay, this is a weak password. Okay, so we can make it more longer than what it is right now. Say for example, we add an extra 4 characters to our code. So we're gonna come down here to our code. We're gonna press X, the A button. So now it's giving us X again. Let's add 4 more, and then now it's giving us the D, and then X, and then X again. So our 4 added characters to our present code, it's X, D, X, X. All right, so if we come down here to our password tester, so we're gonna add that. So we X, D, X, X. So now this, if we look at the password strength, we can see that it's a good strength. And the estimated time to crack is 3 years. So this is gonna be like 3 years in order to crack this code. So this is like the safe side, the safest that you can have a code. So the more longer it is and the more different characters are inside, the more harder it is to crack. So that's a bit about how to be safe online and having a strong password. You could use this code to generate different characters, and you could also pick like your own characters that you want. It doesn't have to be like X exclamation mark Y Y, and then like question mark, and then D. It can really be like characters that you want. So you could have like various different characters for you. And another thing that I can say, it doesn't just have to be 5 characters. In this type of code, you can really personalize and customize it however that you want, and you can have like, say for example, 10 characters. So it really depends of you, honestly. And another thing that I want to mention, actually, if you guys like this type of activity, is on our explore page. That's right here. On our explore page, if you come on our explore page right here, let me just show you. If you come on our explore page, there's a lot of different topics and a lot of different activities like this one. If you liked this like coding type and like making password, you can come down here into topics and go in our digital and cyber skills topic. And when you press this one, you press continue. You don't really have to specify a grade. When you press this one, you could see a lot of different types of activities. And like this activity that we did, you can have another one that's called strong password, but this time it's using higher skills, and this time your guys are not going to be using block coding. You're actually going to be using Python coding. So this is what's very exciting. This is like another stage. It's not really block coding, it's more like complex. So this is another way or another activities that you can do. So if you like this one with the microbits, you can make another one that is a strong password maker, but using Python. So I hope you guys liked it. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to our team. And any questions, any comment, honestly, guys, feel free. Don't feel shy or anything. Send an email to our team, and we will be getting back to you very shortly. I think I could show you guys. Yeah, so the link to our page, actually, it's right here at the top. It's right here at the top, and it's right here at the top. And yeah, I can make it big for you guys if you guys want to take notes. So feel free to reach out to us at this email, and this. So let me just show you guys the email I'm talking about. The email I was talking about. It's written right here at the top. So feel free to reach out to us, honestly, guys, through that email if you have any questions, any comments for today's workshop, and our explore pages where you can find other activities. So that's everything from me. I will let you guys go right here, and I hope you guys liked it, and